first started running D&D, writing an entire adventure was daunting. I found it difficult to find information on how to write a campaign instead of just individual adventures, how to link it all together. So in this series, I'm going to document my experience writing an adventure, an entire campaign even, for my group of friends in the game I run. On a night a week, it's moving night, I can't say my Monday night game anymore. But yeah, running an adventure for my friends. My first step when starting any new project is and this is going to sound boring, but the getting things done natural planning model. If you know the book, you know the model, it's just a neat way to kind of make sure I'm getting all of the things. The first question I had to answer is, what is the purpose of running this game? What do I want to do differently this time that I may have done the same other times? What's the kind of overall goal? And I realised my really clear goal I wanted the players to have impact in the world. I wanted their actions to feel like they really mattered and not feel like they were on some sort of railroad. I wanted a sandbox game. Because I've recently been running games like Lost Mines of Phandelver, which isn't really that big of an issue, but Lost Mines of Phandelver, particularly Storm King's Thunder, and I felt Storm King's Thunder really railroaded the players. It gives them in such a big sandbox that they almost don't know what to do. And my way of fixing that was I railroaded them too much. And then we were kind of on these it hasn't been working. I made a lot of mistakes. I feel like I could have done a lot better, but I just really wanted the players to have this sandbox feeling. Because I was trying one of my players, and the game I ran before Storm King's Thunder was Curse of Strahd, which is one of the best sandbox games I've ever run. It has a really clear goal, it has a clear villain, it's this big mystery, and my players really enjoyed that. And so I wanted to create something personal with a different theme in that kind of style. The second thing I did was I defined outcomes. I wanted to make sure my players had fun, make sure I had fun, while also being prepared for the sessions. In the past, I don't think I've done enough prep work. I think I haven't even spent 5 minutes planning before the session, and it really notices when you have those sessions when you haven't read the module and everything's a bit clunky because you're having to look stuff up. I want to be smooth. I want the players to just get to play the game and for me to feel in control the whole time. And I feel like I've really been lacking that in my last games, and that's a really clear goal for this one. The third thing I did was I brainstormed all my ideas into a blank Obsidian note. This has let me collect them all in one place, and I'm going to use Obsidian to capture the notes of this entire game, so I feel like it's a good place to start. And here are some of the kind of ideas I had. I came up with more ideas than this, but these are the ideas that I want to take with me for the rest of the game. So I want it to be a sandbox game, as we've already discussed. I want the elves to be a core theme of the game. My elves in my world are quite unique, I feel like. I don't know, maybe I'm just making stuff up. But I really tried to make, it was something Matt Colville said, he's like, oh, really, I don't know if it was Matt Colville video, maybe it was a Matt Colville video. I'm sure someone will know. But really try to have something in your world which makes it your world. And for me, my elves are that. There's so much work I've put into creating my elves, making them make sense to me. And I really want to show that off because I've always put all this work in and I've never really used elves that much except in background roles. And I'm like, no, I want my villain and maybe some of the storylines to be about elves. I want the players to have to interact with elves on a regular basis. I want lots of social interaction. I want the players to have to, interact with the world. I want them to have to talk to NPCs. I want the solution to problems to be talking to people and meeting NPCs and kind of all of that stuff. I don't want every problem to be solved by just stabbing a zombie or whatever in a dungeon. I mean, there'll be bits of that. It's Dungeons and Dragons after all, but I want that social interaction. I've written down here, do not try more than just an A and a B plot. I feel like in the past, definitely Storm King's Thunder has this issue. I've tried to run too many plots of run. I'll be like, I'll have an A plot and a B plot and a C plot and they'll all interlink. And that's just confusing for everyone. No one knows what's going on. Most of the players aren't taking that detailed notes, so they miss a lot of the clues. So I find the best thing to do is just, and this is something I should know, but I keep making the mistake, is I should have an A plot, what are the players doing right now, and a background B plot. A classic example of this, warning spoilers for Curse of Strahd here, is in Strahd, you've kind of got whatever the players are doing right now, whether that be Barovia, the Lackey, the White Tower, any of that stuff. And you've got the B plot, which is Strahd. What is Strahd up to? Like getting out of Barovia, all of that stuff. And so whenever they're doing the A plot, Strahd is always there messing with them. And I feel like it gives a really good dynamic to that game. I want, in the town, this is more of a setting thing we'll get onto later, but I want the town to feel really alive. I want there to be regular NPCs and organizations the players can go to and interact with and build up a rapport with. Like they'll go, by the middle of the game, I want them to be like, oh, we need this thing. We'll go to this NPC who we've met. Or we want this thing, we'll go to that NPC. I don't want to brush over those interactions. I feel like in the past I've said things like, oh, you're going to be shopping. Like, I trust you can buy stuff. But I feel like I can do a little bit more making that experience fun for everyone and enjoyable. And I'm probably missing that. This is, if you're one of my players in this game, don't watch, this is spoilers, but I had this really clear idea I wanted to introduce a character who is a dark elf and that the players grow to like, and then reveal halfway through, and then build up to the players that the dark elves are evil, and then reveal at some point in the game that this character is a dark elf to kind of notice this theme that I'll explain later on when I explain my kind of ideas for the plot. When I explain my elves at some point, is that and then I'll have to decide: oh, do we believe what we know about dark elves and that they're evil, or do we trust this character who we've grown to like? And I feel like that would be a really interesting interaction. And finally, I want a rival adventuring group. I want the players, when they come back to the town, to kind of have this other adventuring group. Maybe they get to chat to, find out what they've been doing, and explore the kind of dynamic between those characters. Maybe they'll meet, if they're on like a big dungeon crawl, maybe the players will meet that character and it'll be a kind of fun dynamic there to build from. After capturing my ideas, I separated them into this first section you've listened to and this second section about the setting. So my notes on the setting are, I want to start in a town big enough for the players to interact with it regularly. As I've already mentioned, I want part of the game to feature the town, and so my kind of idea is to have, I'm going to use, if you watch my video on the framework of towns I've used before, I had this idea of making 4 districts of this small city and treating each one like a town. So each one has a problem, each one has all these locations, that kind of stuff. Obviously, I won't need to duplicate locations, but I feel that would give them options on taverns and places to meet NPCs and ideas, and you can have a lot of different fun there. And maybe each of these sections have a little mini problem, and that will lead into a bigger problem that kind of affects the whole town. And I feel like that'll be a fun way for them to slowly work their way through the town, that kind of stuff. I want the setting to be the town is at the end of this valley through the mountains, which used to house a dwarven empire a long time ago, and that's why you've got all these ruins and all these places to loot, is because you've got this empire that stretches along the valley, and I feel like that will be a fun setting. I want the final big bad evil guy spot to be the Lost Mines, the Forge of Fury, if you know the adventure, so the Forge of Kundrakar. And I feel like that will be fun because I can spend, if they're in the Dwarven Mines, if I'm ever hinting at stuff, I can just consistently hint of the mines of Kundrakar and how amazing they were in the Forge. And that way the players will kind of know about the mines when they're eventually sent there to deal with the BBEG. And I feel like that will add that area a bit more of a drama, because they'll have this history of these mines, and if he's defiled them, they'll know how big that is. Like, where is all this magic gone? And I just think it will be a fun moment. The only question I have for this is I need to work out later on, is why hasn't this valley been plundered before? If there's all of these magical items lying around, why hasn't anyone come here before? Why haven't the lost mines of Kundrakar been found? Because my world has quite a strong empire. Why hasn't the empire just cleared this out before? So I think that's going to have to feed into something in the steady state world. I came up with more than these ideas. These are just the ones I want to continue. I'd recommend, don't worry if when you're brainstorming for your own campaign, if you're making one along with me, that you don't have all of these ideas, clear ones straight away. Come up with loads and then count them. I've got about 3 times this many ideas in my notes, and some that never left my head. I had in the shower and went, nah, I don't like that one. But I really found taking these notes and actually writing this script really helped me clear up the exact ideas I had and kind of clear it up. So the next episode in this series will probably be looking at the villain I want to use or that kind of stuff. So stay tuned. I don't really know what I'm going to be doing yet, but I'll be probably uploading regularly on this. And I know I'm going to be using Obsidian to kind of capture my notes and build what's called a second brain in a productivity sense. I want to build a D&D second brain for this game. So I'm hoping to make a video kind of connected to this one, but probably standalone, about building a second brain and using this game as an excuse to kind of test out my ideas. So stay tuned all for that. New videos should be on Tuesdays at lunchtime BST, so 12 PM BST. Stay tuned, and I hope you enjoyed the video.